Social media has completely ruined the fitness bubble. From being a place where people share their progress, giving each other helpful tips and support, to becoming a haven full of hate, negativity, PED abuse, body dysmorphia, scams, and much, much more. But how did we even end up in this situation? Well, it all begins with one thing: social media. You see, when social media first came onto the scene through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc. over the last 2 decades, fitness content wasn't like it is today. It was filled mostly with tutorials and tips where people with experience in the gym would show you how to work out. Guys like Scott Herman, Alan Thrall, even AthleanX, and many others centered their content exclusively around showing you what to do to build the body of your dreams. It wasn't until around 2010 when a certain somebody called Aziz Shavershin, or Ziz, started popping off that the fitness scene started twisting in a different direction. Now, most of my audience know who Ziz was, but for those who don't, he was basically the first modern day fitness influencer. He didn't get famous off of his advice necessarily, but rather his physique and his persona, which many would later try to replicate. He was known for all of these catchphrases like "You Myron bra" and his motivational speeches, and he ushered in what many refer to as the era of aesthetics, inspiring thousands in the process, but ended up passing very young at age 22 in 2011. And this sparked a whole new concept: the social media fitness influencer. Back then, social media platforms weren't as widely used as they are today, but the growth seen by the online fitness community over the next decade would be insurmountable, with influencers like Jeff Seid, Matt August, David Lade, and later into Alex Eubank, Noel Deisel, Larry Wheels, Greg Doucette, Jeff Nippard, and many more. The fitness bubble has exploded. It has become mainstream, and while I think that is generally considered a good thing, because who doesn't want training, nutrition, and taking care of yourself and building muscle to become normalized, at the same time, this burst of popularity has also caused some less desirable traits to develop within our own community. But before that, a quick word from today's video sponsor over at Pulsetto, who helped me make videos like these available for you guys. You know how we always say that recovery is just as important as the training itself. Most of us assume that recovery just sort of happens if we sleep enough or eat well, and yeah, in many cases that is enough. But if your nervous system never really calms down, which is very common in today's overstimulated society, you might end up feeling half recovered, flat, heavy, mentally drained, and your training performance might suffer. And that's where Pulsetto comes in. Pulsetto is a super simple vagus nerve stimulation device that you throw on for a few minutes after training, or during heavy blocks, to basically tell your body that now it's time to relax. Now, this isn't some weird voodoo magic, you're just helping your nervous system flip from an amped up sympathetic drive into a more relaxed state through higher parasympathetic activation. It's very simple to use, you just put it around your neck and find a suitable setting. But you also have to put on this sticky gel to make sure it actually transmits properly, and I personally like pairing it with some light music, but that's all up to you. For some, this can mean that you feel less fatigued the day after training and get a more consistent feeling of readiness. You can use it right before you go to sleep, maybe after training, or whatever just feels right.
I gotta say, it feels kinda weird, but also oddly relaxing.
So if you want to treat recovery as something you also can actively do, not just hope it happens while you sleep, then make sure you check out Pulsetto and use my code BADGUY for a 10% discount. I will put a link to their website in the description. Now back to the video. Because somewhere along this line, fitness stopped being about getting better and instead started being about getting attention. And those two things are more like opposites in my eyes. Social media platforms do not reward accuracy, nuance, or even honesty, but they do reward engagement. And the easiest way to get engagement is through extremes. Just think about it for a second. Nobody in their right mind clicks on a video that is titled "A Balanced Approach to Hypertrophy Training with Moderate Volume and Appropriate Rest and Recovery." But they will click on a video titled "Why Everything You Know About Training is Wrong," or "Do this one exercise to grow your chest overnight." And even though clickbait and bold claims have been around for a long time, it's only recently that it started to really burn. With the explosion of TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts, most content, including fitness and health, got compressed into 15 to 60 second clips. A video which would have been over 10 minutes long is now compressed to retain viewership. It's heavily edited to be entertaining, and in that format, the nuance just dies. On top of the fact that due to our ever-regressing attention span, many don't even catch catch or remember what is being said. It's often that the physique presenting the information gets more attention than the actual information. Or a video where somebody is just flexing or highlighting their physique will get a lot more attention than somebody who is talking actively about training or nutrition. Or heck, bold claims, which are a lot easier to remember, will occupy people's memories way easier than a longer and more nuanced take.
Is there any watch out foods that people think are healthy, but if I was trying to have an optimally healthy heart, I should avoid?
This is going to surprise you. Excessive fruit, because there's too much fructose in it.
Fructose being the sugars.
Fructose is sugar, and fructose causes fatty liver.
And on top of this, the nuance required to actually give solid fitness advice is rarely present when you only have a short format. Like, you can't explain progressive overload or fatigue management or injury risk or complex nutrition science in 30 seconds or less. So instead, many creators opt to simplify their message, then they oversimplify and eventually just distort the entire message that they're trying to convey.
This is why the world of fitness is it's because of people like this.
Counting calories, it's not actually making you leaner, it's making you store more fat. She's that little man over there. I've got dried spunk that's older than him. But instead of learning from me, he's sitting there making videos. Stupid kids, wake the up.
As an end product of this tomfoolery, you get black and white thinking, just like this exercise is trash, or this is the only way to build muscle, and if you eat this food, you will get cancer and die. And these things are also very present in the evidence-based lifting scene, often because people want to stand out, to be controversial, or to say something different to get engagement, instead of providing something actually useful and nuanced. And suddenly, the beginners aren't learning anything, they're just getting whiplash from all the information out there, most of which just contradict itself. One day you may have someone saying squats are essential, the next day they're terrible for your knees, and then they're only for advanced lifters, followed by how higher specificity work is better for advanced lifters if they want to grow muscle. It becomes more like entertainment disguised as education, and I've talked about this a lot before in some of my previous videos. But the algorithm loves it, or like Mr. Beast would say, the audience loves it, because the people watching are essentially the ones producing their own algorithms. And outrage, or simple statements, engages people a lot more than anything, which is why the current meta is more centered around bold claims, rage bait, and in many cases just spewing obvious lies. But at the same time with all this happening, there has also been another shift, and this one is way more serious in my opinion. Performance-enhancing drugs have gone from being hidden and taboo to being normalized to being straight up marketed. Now you got some influencers openly talking about cycles, SARMs, peptides, TRT, sometimes responsibly, which is awesome, but oftentimes not. And many only show the positives, like how certain peptides can aid in injury recovery, but not even mention that the long-term consequences are completely unknown. And the audience consuming this content, well, a big part of them are kids. 15, 16, 17-year-olds who haven't even finished puberty are now being exposed to conversations about hormone manipulation like it's just another supplement.
Are you natural or not?
I'm on SARMs.
Can you tell me which ones?
LGD, YK11, MK, I think 28.
I remember when I was younger, people told us creatine would ruin our kidneys and make us go bald. Like, the contrast is pretty darn disturbing. And we've seen cases like Eric English or teenagers already stepping into PEDs without even getting any real foundation of training, nutrition, or knowledge on PEDs, posting their transformations on social media, which in turn produces insane expectations for teens and kids just starting out. Like, your frontal lobe is still 10 years away from being fully developed, and you're just messing with your mind for the long run, and if you get mediocre results, you're just gonna feel like an absolute failure because these kids on social media are doing way better. And it doesn't exactly help that we now have AI transformations which drive these concepts even further. And when you combine that with unrealistic physiques being presented as achievable through social media, you get a perfect storm for body dysmorphia, which is now on the rise. The new standard isn't just about having abs and some vascularity or even benching 2 plates, which a couple of years ago was considered impressive. Now it's basically being chemically enhanced, but presented as a new normal. Like, this kid came in and benched 4 plates after a few months of benching, which isn't even going to be achievable for most people on PEDs. Even in cases where creators are open about their use, the damage is already done. And even though I think it's generally better to be open about it than to lie to your audience, unless you are clearly emphasizing emphasizing the downsides and the negative side effects, the impact will often be an overall negative. And then there is the other side of the industry, especially on platforms like Instagram. The line between fitness content and adult content has gotten, let's just say, very blurry. Like, you'll see workout videos that are clearly not about training at all, they're about clicks, attention, and monetization through other platforms. Like how many will post lightly clad videos or photos of themselves on Instagram just to transfer that engagement through other platforms like OF. And it's not just the women, but also a lot of guys are doing this. Heck, even Larry Wheels opened one up at some point. And even though the adult movie industry is a totally different topic on its own, it's slowly clawing its way into fitness. And again, the algorithm pushes it as long as people continue to click and watch. It's not like it's illegal to drive engagement through OF via Instagram, for example, because it works. But what it does is distort what fitness even really means. Like, it turns from a performance-driven, health-focused pursuit into just pure aesthetics, validation, and attention. For a lot of guys, it's about chasing that unattainable size and leanness, comparing yourself to guys on steroids, or just even better natural lifters with better genetics. For women, it's the pressure to look a certain way and present themselves in the perfect way online. Like how we're now seeing wedgie tutorials on how to make your butt look a certain way in leggings. Like, what does that have to do with training? Does that really help anyone? Like, we have people who go to podcasts and just say things randomly for clicks and attention, even if they secretly know that what they're saying is BS. Because at the end of the day, that is what performs best. Guys like Greg Doucette has built massive channels off of high energy, aggressive critique content. Heck, I do it a lot too, because that's one of the best ways to get your word across. Even if I try to be nuanced and two-sided with all my critiques. Alongside guys like the Anabolic Stick, Solomon Nelson, Josh Brett, Big Sean, etc. Even Jeff Nippard has talked about how titles and thumbnails have to walk that very fine line between accuracy and clickability. It's not like creators are the biggest problem, at least not always. It's more the environment we find ourselves in that pushes everyone in the same direction. So how do we fix that? Because obviously something is off. And no, we're not going to be able to fix social media overnight, but there are ways the industry can improve for a better direction. First of all, I think creators need to take more responsibility. That means that you have to be open about your PED use, or at the very least not imply that you're natural when you're not. And if you're gonna be open, I also expect you to talk about the negatives and the potential side effects. You have to avoid absolute claims when the reality is often more nuanced, and saying things like, that exercise is useless, or you're gonna get injured doing X, Y, and Z, don't eat this food, etc. are definitely not helping. But I also think that we have to prioritize long-term credibility through being authentic, open, and not just vividly chasing views. Because even though views are of course important, you kind of need them to build a sustainable online fitness brand, your audience and the people in general will benefit more from genuine content. Secondly, the platforms we work on need better incentives. Because right now, outrage and extremism are more rewarded than anything. Like, there is no real system in place to elevate accurate, evidence-based content over viral clips and nonsense. And until that changes, I think the cycle will just keep repeating itself. Third, and I think this is the most important one, the audience and the people who use social media have to get smarter. Because at the end of the day, the algorithm follows you. It's like how AI channels like these are now on the rise because people apparently watch it. Even if you see rage bait videos, like, don't comment on it, don't engage with it, just scroll, and the algorithm will not show it to you more. Sometimes people get trapped in an endless negative loop because they keep engaging with content even if they don't really like it. Like, if you see an AI transformation or you see somebody spewing nonsense, just dislike it and move on, or just click the do not suggest button. And you don't have to spend time comparing yourself to the people you see online. Like, they have different genetics to you, they're often living off of how they look, and many take PEDs on top of it. I would argue the average steroid user has a physique similar to a good natural lifter. Fitness and muscle building, strength, etc. at its core is actually very simple. You train hard with a good plan, ideally one that's adapted to you and what you want to achieve. You recover properly, you sleep well, you eat well, you stay consistent, and you do that for years at a time. But if you just said that, you wouldn't go viral, and maybe that's the biggest problem of all. But personally, I think the worst thing is that we are not as supportive of each other as yes, we should be. Like, it's fine to criticize, especially if somebody says something with ill intent or something that harms people. But if somebody is just posting their deadlift max or bench PR, then what is the value in commenting about their form being crap, or how the deadlift is nonsensical, or anything else that is purely destructive? And if somebody posts their 1 or 2 year transformation video, why do people say that, oh, this is not impressive if the results are normal? And if the person actually has good results, then they say they're on steroids. Like, you can't win, and this might not have anything to do with the fitness industry on its own, but I think that in the bubble designed to be all about improving yourself, pushing limits, getting healthy, building muscle, etc., that we should at the very least aim to make others feel good and to stay motivated and to keep going. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I know this one was a bit of a rant, but I figured it was a suitable video considering these circumstances and everything that's been happening in the industry and across the world lately. So for my fellow gym bros, stay active, help each other, be critical, and I'll see you all next time.